So what do we think about the shirt? I got it at a thrift store recently and it's my new favorite. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a used book sale vlog and haul. So I actually went to this book sale yesterday, but I did not have time to film my haul yesterday, so I'm doing it today. But I do want to put the vlog clips from the sale in, so I'll do that right after I finish talking about the sale. This was actually my first time ever at a used book sale. I've never gone to one before, and I think this one was a perfect one to start with because it was huge. You'll see in the clips, it was in this big warehouse type building, and the sign out front said they had over 100,000 books. I don't know if that was accurate or not, but they definitely had a ton of stuff to choose from. They had hardbacks, paperbacks, cookbooks, they had DVDs and puzzles, kids books, classics, literally everything. It was amazing. And I ended up getting 21 books for $33, which I think is a pretty good deal. I can't wait to show y'all what I got, so let's get on with the vlog clips and then the haul. I should probably mention also before I start the haul that I had a couple different intentions when I went to this book sale. The first one was to get books for myself, obviously, because I love to read and I'm always looking for new stuff to read. But I also wanted to pick up a bunch of copies of my favorite books that I already own, but the reason I want to get extra copies is because I want to do a video soon where I stuff little free libraries with my favorite books. So definitely stay tuned for that. I think I'm going to start by showing y'all the books I got for myself. Okay, so first up we have Bookshop by the Sea by Denise Hunter, and this book had so many little buzzwords in it that drew me to it. So I love bookish books. That's one thing that made me pick this up. It's also set in a fictional town in North Carolina, which is my home state, and it's by Denise Hunter. I have never read anything by her, at least that I can remember or that I know of, but I know she's a very popular author, so I wanted to try something out by her, and this book looked so good. It looks like it's going to be a perfect beach read. So y'all know I don't like to read all the stuff on the back because it can be kind of spoilery, but I did skim it, and from what I understand, this follows our main girl, Sophie, and she wants to open up a bookstore in the quaint North Carolina beach town of Piper's Cove, which sounds like a total dream. But shortly after she opens, a hurricane hits the area, and there's this guy named Aiden who needs a place to stay, but all the hotels are booked to capacity. So he ends up staying in her bookshop, and I'm assuming that while the storm is happening, they kind of get to know each other, so there's probably going to be a little bit of romance in there. It sounds really good. I'm looking forward to reading this. It is published by Thomas Nelson, and honestly in the past, I've been kind of disappointed with their books because they don't really have any faith content. This is like a Christian publisher, but their fiction books don't really have much faith content. So the last books I read from Thomas Nelson, I was a little bit let down by that, but I'm gonna go into this one expecting it to be clean, just with no faith content. So hopefully I won't have that problem. Next, I picked up The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society by Mary Ann Shaffer and Annie Barrows. Okay, if you're like me, you have seen this book everywhere over the last year or two, and the title always draws my interest. I didn't really know what it was about before I picked it up, but I just had to have it. It sounds so interesting. It's a pretty short book, and I did check out the back. The back has a very brief summary of the book, which I love. I don't like it when they tell you the whole plot on the back of the book. So this one just says it's set in January 1946. Writer Juliet Ashton receives a letter from a stranger, a founding member of the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. And so begins a remarkable tale of the island of Guernsey during the German occupation and of a society as extraordinary as its name. That's all I really want to know. It sounds very fun. And as I was flipping through, I noticed that this book is in letters/telegrams. I don't know if it's an entirely epistolary novel, but I love those epistolary elements, and I'm really excited to dive into this. The third book I got is Silence by Shusaku Endo. I have actually read this before. I read this when I was in college, but I remember basically nothing about it. I remember one scene, and I've since gotten rid of my original copy. So when I saw this today, I decided to pick it up again and try it out. Maybe I'll like it more this time and actually keep my copy. And this is the fictionalized story about a 17th century Portuguese priest in Japan. So it has so many great reviews on the back from Publishers Weekly, San Francisco Review of Books, Washington Post. They're calling it profoundly moving, a brilliant work, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure why I didn't remember it the first time I read it, but I'm gonna try and pay more attention this time. Book number 4 is Ladies of the Lake by Cathy Gohlke. I'm not totally sure on that last name, but that is my guess. This is another new to me author, and I've never heard of this book or seen it anywhere, but the cover just was so pretty and drew me in. Again, it looks very summery. I'm looking for some nice beach reads right now, and I think this is gonna fit the bill. And then when I was reading the back, I noticed that it's about 4 girls who are at an all-girls school on Prince Edward Island. And I love reading books set in Prince Edward Island. And this book specifically, the girls call themselves kindred spirits. So between that and the Prince Edward Island thing, I was getting some Anne of Green Gables vibes, which I love Anne of Green Gables, so that was pretty much enough to sell me on this book. But then it mentions that the 4 girls, they're really good friends, and then a terrible explosion in Halifax Harbor happens, and they all kind of get affected by that in different ways, and they go their separate ways in life. And then 17 years later, they somehow get in contact again, and the book is about them redeveloping their friendship. So I think it sounds really sweet, very heartwarming, probably sad as well, like a bittersweet story, but I'm looking forward to trying this out. I always love trying new authors as well. Then I got All Creatures Great and Small by James Herriott. I have never read this book before or anything by this author, but I have seen this book recommended many times, and I believe it was also a television show. I'm not really sure because I don't own a TV, or I never watch anything, basically, so I'm not up to date on any TV shows at all. But yeah, it's just the story of this guy, I think it's like an autobiography type thing, working as a veterinarian in Yorkshire, England. It's not typically something I would grab, but since I've heard about it so much, I thought, why not? It was a good deal, so I couldn't pass it up. Next, I got the first 2 books in the Mitford series. I got At Home in Mitford and A Light in the Window. These are both by Karon, I guess is how you say that. This is another set of books that I have seen everywhere, and I feel like everyone talks about them and how good they are and how cozy and sweet. So I wanted to get in on that and see what it's all about. I did not read the backs, so I don't know any details about the story, but from what I understand, it's set in a fictional town based off of the North Carolina mountains. And again, I'm from North Carolina, so I love reading books set there, even if it's a fictionalized town or place. And I really enjoy cozy neighborhood books where you kind of get to know the whole town. I think that is super fun, so had to pick these up. Then I got Be Joyful by Warren W. Wiersbe. Again, not sure on that. This is a Bible study on the book of Philippians. I have had this recommended to me a couple times, and I was really surprised to see it at the book sale because I think it's out of print. This looks like an older copy. Yeah, this copy is from 2003, so I'm not sure if this is in print anymore, but I've heard this is a really great, really encouraging Bible study. And I was thinking about it, and I don't think I've ever done a Bible study on Philippians, so should be fun to check it out in depth. This book does have some highlighting and notes in it, which normally when I buy used books, I do not get ones with annotations because it drives me crazy, but this was only 50 cents, so I thought it was worth it. Next up, I got Gentle and Lowly by Dane Ortlund, and the subtitle is The Heart of Christ for Sinners and Sufferers. This book is beautiful. I love the gentle kind of shepherd scene on the front, so pretty. So this book is based on Matthew chapter 11, verse 29, and that little section of verses, Matthew chapter 11, 28, 29, and 30, is super important to me. So this book stood out just for that reason alone. But I just think it's going to be a really good, interesting read. I have also seen this on Goodreads with really high recommendations, so I think I'm going to like this. And the little blurb in the front is really good. It's a really short one. It says, Christians know what Jesus Christ has done, but who is he? What is his deepest heart for his people, weary and faltering on their journey toward heaven? Jesus said he is gentle and lowly in heart. This book reflects on these words, opening up a neglected yet central truth about who he is for sinners and sufferers today. I am so excited to read this. I think it's going to be fantastic. Next up, I got The Gifts of the Jews, How a Tribe of Desert Nomads Changed the Way Everyone Thinks and Feels by Thomas Cahill. I have read some of his nonfiction works before and enjoyed them. And in fact, I have this right here, Desire of the Everlasting Hills by him on my shelf. So this piqued my interest right away when I saw it yesterday just because I knew the author and I thought this was an interesting topic. I don't really have much to say about this. It just looked and sounded really interesting, so I picked it up. Then I got a couple books from my sister who likes to read. The first one is The Journal of Major George Washington, sent by the Honorary Robert Dinwiddie, Esquire, His Majesty's Lieutenant Governor and Commander-in-Chief of Virginia, to the Commandant of the French forces in Ohio, to which are added the governor's letters and a translation of the French officer's answer. So this little bitty book with this super long title. My sister loves this style of book. I don't know if this has a name, this look, but she really likes that. And I think this will be fun to read too. I don't think I've ever read any of George Washington's personal writings, but yeah, it's a super small book, very cute. It does have some illustrations, which is always fun. I think she's gonna like that one. And the second one I got for her is called The Hill, A True Story of Tragedy, Recovery, and Redemption on North America's Highest Peak. This is by Ed Hammer. So I think I mentioned in my first video I ever did with my sister that she loves to read survival stories. So as soon as I saw this, I was like, okay, I gotta pick it up for her. And this is about a guy who's an Alaskan bush pilot and he crashes onto a mountain. And this is the story of him and his passengers' survival after that incident. Not something I would personally ever choose to read, but my sister is gonna eat this up. Okay, the last book I have to show y'all from this pile is actually not one I bought for myself, but my friend Beth bought it for me and sent it to me, so I wanted to show it to y'all. It is Chicken Soup for the Christian Soul. So ironically, my friend Beth is also a big reader, and a couple weeks ago we were talking about little free libraries and visiting them, and she went to visit a couple in her town, and she ended up finding a Chicken Soup for the Soul book while she was there. And then we were talking about those books and how fun they were to read, like in the 90s or early 2000s, because I didn't know how to read in the 90s. Because I was young, not because I just didn't know how to read. I was very young in the 90s. Anyway, we were talking about these books and how much we enjoyed them when we were younger, and suddenly they started popping up everywhere, I feel like. And then yeah, she sends me this book, so yeah, that was so nice of her. I'm really excited to read this. I do recognize some of the contributors to the book already, so I think it's going to be fun to dive into this. I do not remember ever reading this one specifically when I was younger. I stuck mainly to the ones for girls and teens, so this will be my first time reading one as an adult, I guess. Okay, that is all the books I got for myself. Now I'm going to talk about the books I got to put in Little Free Libraries. Again, these are some of my favorite books ever that I want to share with other people. So first up, I got the first 3 books in the Narnia series, but ironically, these are like the older versions and the covers are so fun and vintage. I love this cover right here for the second book. I kind of want to keep this for myself, but I actually already own 2 box sets of Narnia and I don't need a 3rd copy, so I'll give it to someone else. But as you can see, this is labeled as book 1 in the Chronicles of Narnia, and then I have Prince Caspian here, which is labeled as book 2, and then I have The Magician's Nephew, which is labeled as book 6. So I'm not a Narnia expert. That title is reserved for Morgan over at Morgan's Endless Bookshelf. But I did not know, I guess, that these books had been renumbered at some point, because when I read them as a kid, and ever since I've known them, it's always been Magician's Nephew first, then The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, and so on. So I thought that was interesting. I'm gonna put them in a Little Free Library, probably in a set like this, because I liked reading them in this manner. I guess that's the best way to read them, I don't know. But I really hope some kid out there will really like these books. Then I got The Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan, one of my all-time favorite classics. I was so excited to pick that up. I also got Anne of Green Gables. I really picked this up because in one of my other Little Free Library videos, I dropped off another copy of this and someone commented saying they would love to find that in a Little Free Library. So I saw this at the book sale and I was like, well, I gotta get that because someone might really want it. Plus, I love this book. It's so good. I think everyone should read it, so yeah. Then I got Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This is one of, if not my all-time favorite books, so I had to grab this. It's also a Puffin Classics edition, and I kind of collect these. I like this very simple book cover and style, so hopefully someone else will too. And last up, I got 3 C.S. Lewis books. I got 2 Mere Christianities and 1 Screwtape Letters. I would have liked to get more of these at that book sale, but they only had a couple from him, and they weren't in the best shape, so I decided to just get these 3. I am excited that I got these 3 though, because the Screwtape Letters is probably my favorite C.S. Lewis book at this point in time. My second favorite is The Great Divorce, but they did not have that one. But I really like Mere Christianity as well, and both these copies are really nice. Very excited to stuff those into some Little Free Libraries. I definitely plan to vlog that experience, so subscribe and stay tuned for that if you aren't already. And that is all I got at my used book sale, my very first ever used book sale, but it will not be my last. I'm going to scout around and see if I can find some more to go to soon. If you have heard of or read any of these books, or if you have them on your TBR, please let me know down below. I'm very curious what you thought of them, or if you think I'm gonna like them. And that is about all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting my channel. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Bye!